Hello, everyone. Today I want to make you guys aware of this excellent lawsuit that's making its way through the Texas court system. Okay, Texas, great state. Okay, so this is a lawsuit to strike down the federal ban on non-resident handgun transfers. Okay, so if you're traveling to a different state on vacation, you can purchase uh, any long gun, right? Shotgun, rifle, AR-15. You can go to a different state, go into the gun store, pay for it, and they'll do the FFL paperwork. They'll transfer it to you right then and there, and you can leave the gun store, with the AR-15. Okay. However, with handguns, there's a federal law that prohibits the transfer in a non-resident state. So you can go into a gun store, you can purchase it, you can pay for it, but then they won't transfer it to you. They have to ship it to an FFL back in your resident state. Okay, and usually that's whatever's on your driver's license. Um, there's other ways that you can prove residency besides a driver's license. However, most FFLs, as a matter of just store policy, they won't accept it. Okay, even though they could, they won't. They can look at a house deed, for example. They won't. They're just going to go by what's on your driver's license. They don't want to deal with anything else. They don't want to just do the extra work. Okay, so whatever your driver's license says, whatever state it says that you're from, that's where the handgun has to get transferred to, and then the FFL in that state has to do the transfer. Okay, so this is a real problem for people. Let's say New York City in particular, New Jersey, California, because they can go to other states to purchase long guns, right? Like these wonderful AR-15s. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to bring them back to their states, because they might have, they may have a house or a vacation house in a different state, or they might leave it with a family member or a friend. Okay, but people from New York City are able to go to other states and purchase AR-15s, unless the store has a policy against it. But they can't do that with handguns, right? No FFL will transfer them a handgun. So this is an infringement, but beyond that, it's restrictive on the gun culture, right? And the gun controllers do this on purpose because they don't want people in New York City, having guns, because they know that if those people own more and more guns, they're gonna be more and more gun rights. Okay, and as somebody that grew up in New York City, I mean, I understand the attitude of New York City people. Okay, if they don't want anybody else having superior rights to them. Okay, so if they start seeing lots of people around them, right, in the neighborhood owning guns, they're gonna want the guns too. Okay, so that's what the gun controllers are trying to avoid, and why they're trying to keep the guns out of the hands of like New York City people, California people, etc. Okay, so this lawsuit would basically, if it's successful, and there's a very good chance that it will be successful because it's being done in Texas, it would basically strike down this ban on non-resident handgun transfers. Okay, now the place where I'm getting this information from is a channel called the Four Boxes Diner. Okay, again, that's Four Boxes Diner. You should all be subscribed to it. The person that hosts the channel, his name is Mark Smith. He is a constitutional scholar. But aside from being just an expert gun lawyer, he actually talks in front of the Federalist Society. So judges and high power lawyers listen to this guy. Okay, so this is the place where you guys should get your legal gun news. Okay, so you should all be subscribed. So that's where this information is coming from. Now, the group that's bringing this lawsuit is called the Firearms Policy Coalition, FPC. They were the same ones that did the pistol brace lawsuit and were successful. And they've done a bunch of other lawsuits as well, and they have a lot of other lawsuits that are currently running. Okay, so there's a good chance that before they are even ultimately successful in the courts, they're gonna get injunctive relief. Okay, what that means is that while this thing plays out through the court system, which might take 4 or 5 years, okay, the government would be prohibited from enforcing this law, right? So if you're in those states like New York, New Jersey, you know, California, Illinois, right? If you are a member of FPC, right, and they get injunctive relief, now all of a sudden you can go travel to different states, and you would be able to purchase a handgun, and they would be able to do the transfer immediately. Okay, so you would have to be a member of FPC or whatever other group is a part of this lawsuit. There's you know, a lot back when we were pushing the pistol brace lawsuits. It took a long time before because the initial injunction only applied to members of FPC, GOA, all these gun groups. It took a long time before the injunction went national, and the direction of the Supreme Court has been against national injunctive relief, right? Because again, with everything, think of everything that's going on with Trump, with these these liberal lawyers that are going after him, or Democrat lawyers that are going after him. They're trying to get injunctive relief, national injunctive relief, and the Supreme Court has been striking down national injunctions. So they're more in favor of more restrictive injunctions. So you have to be a part of the lawsuit, okay? And the way you become part of the lawsuit is by just joining the group, okay? So I renewed my membership with FPC. I'm a member of all these groups, GOA, NRA, all of them. So with FPC, when you go to their website, right, FPC or Firearms just search Firearms Policy Coalition, it'll come up. If you go to the website, there's two options. You can do donate, right? I'm not sure if donate makes you a member, okay? But there's another place where you hit join, okay? And there's a couple of options where you're doing a monthly payment. I took the cheapest one. It's $3 per month, okay? It gets charged automatically to your credit card. It's $3 per month, and now you're a member of FPC, and on any time on anything that they get injunctive relief, it applies to you just for being a member, just paying $3 a month. Okay, so that makes all the sense. So I wanted to kind of get this out there. I just want to. What I want you guys to do is actually don't take my word for it. Go to the expert. Go to the Four Boxes Diner channel, right, and listen to Mark Smith. He's the constitutional scholar. That's the guy you should listen to. And that's everything I told you is what he said, okay? That most likely for this injunctive relief to apply to you, right? So you can go to different states if you want and purchase handguns. And this would be especially cool, like in my state, in Pennsylvania, if you purchase a handgun in the state, I mean, yeah, they'll transfer the handgun to me, but it actually ends up on a state police registry, okay? Now, the weird thing about that is there's actually a law in Pennsylvania that says that the state can't have a registry, okay? So the reason why it was allowed to stand in the courts is because it is not a complete registry. That was the argument that was made. So the idea there is that you can bring guns into Pennsylvania from a different state, and they don't have to go on that registry, right? Because they weren't purchased in Pennsylvania. Or you can build your guns, like my P80s that I have built, right? No serial number, okay? Beautiful gun. That's my everyday carry. This gun and all my P80s are not on the state registry, right? And that's perfectly legal. So now, if you don't build guns, right, and if this would be a way for you to get a handgun that's not on the registry. You could go to a different state, purchase the gun there, and then bring it back into your state legally. Now, if this lawsuit is successful, most likely it will be. But like I said, you most likely will have to be a member of the party that's bringing the lawsuit. Okay. So again, I just wanted to get this information out there. Other thing that's worth knowing is you should know the laws in your state. Okay. Even if your intention is to work your way around those laws, right? You got to know what the laws are in order to be able to find the loopholes and work and legally find your way around those laws. For example, I don't like paying taxes. That's why I became an accountant, okay? So if you don't like paying taxes, what you do is you become an expert accountant, okay? You want to become better than the IRS, okay? now you pay whatever you want to pay in taxes. Okay, if you want to become a hitman, okay, what you do is you join the police department, right? You become a forensics expert, okay, and now you can become a hitman. Okay, so that's how it works. So you want to be, if you want to beat the system, you gotta be an expert in the system. So one of the ways that I do this is you gotta know what the laws are in your state. So when it comes to gun laws, okay, I have a membership with U.S. Lawshield, okay, all right, and it's only $10 a month, okay, and then with this promo code, which is Pocono Shooting, okay, you get like a month free. Sometimes they'll give you 2 months free, sometimes they'll give you $30 off, so it does change from time to time, okay, so you gotta go through the website, uslawshield.com, with this promo code, okay, you get something free, right? Usually a month, maybe it's 2 months. I do not get a kickback from this, right? They gave me this promo code basically to give to my customers as a service to my customers, and the reason is because a lot of times my customers are asking me legal gun questions, and it's like, yeah, like I kind of know the stuff, but I'm not a lawyer, so I'm like, you know what? Here's a lawyer. Go ask them the questions. It's only $10 a month, okay? So that's mainly how I use these guys. I mean, yeah, if you get into a self-defense type of situation, yes, you have a lawyer on call, right? But I don't expect to be in a self-defense type of situation. I don't expect to use these guys that way. So the way I use these guys, right, is to ask questions, law question, like what's the law? What can I do? Or as the laws change, all right, so that's how I use them, right? And what I do is I send them an email. They send me back, a lawyer actually sends me back the answer in writing, okay? And I basically save that email, I print it out, and then I have that for future reference. And that includes like if I'm traveling, right? Let's say I'm traveling, let's say from here to Florida, I'll ask them for an itinerary. Okay, what states can I carry my gun? Can I actually carry? What states would I have to unload my gun? What states should I avoid altogether? So that's how I use this legal service. Okay, so I highly recommend that you have a prepaid lawyer, more for the purposes of asking legal gun questions. Right, that's the way that you're actually going to use this. Okay, more often than not, because it's very unlikely that you're going to actually end up in a self-defense type of situation. But it's really important to have a lawyer that you can ask legal questions. Okay? So, wanted to get this information out there. There's this excellent lawsuit that's working its way through the Texas court system against and you can look it up by searching the prohibition on non-resident handgun transfers, right? And you should find information if you're interested. That's the title that you'll be looking for on the 4 Boxes Diner. If you want to get more details on this lawsuit, but in order to be a part of this lawsuit, you have got to be a member of the party that's bringing the lawsuit, which is in this case is Firearms Policy Coalition, FPC. It's only $3 a month. You know what? On the one hand, it can't hurt. Okay, even if I don't intend on going to a different state to purchase a handgun, and on the other hand, I just want to support them, man. I mean, they're out there pushing back against the system. They've done great work. They did great work with the pistol brace ban. So thumbs up to FPC. Okay, and again, I don't get any kickbacks. Don't monetize this channel, right? I don't make any money from these videos. The only way I make money is by actually training people in person. Okay, so drop some comments because it does help push the algorithm and get the information out there, and I'll talk to you all soon.